I found the camera on a Tuesday afternoon in March, but I had been living with him for nearly 8 months before that. I just didn't know it yet. It was wedged behind the slats of the bathroom vent, no bigger than a sugar cube, matte black, warm to the touch. Not hot, warm, like it had been working hard very recently, recording the steam from my shower, or the way I stood at the sink brushing my teeth, staring at my own reflection, without knowing I was staring back at two small glass eyes. When I shook it, a battery fell out into my palm. It was fresh, dated to expire in 4 years. Someone had installed it recently. Someone who knew I only cleaned that vent twice a year, and always on Sundays. I want to tell you about the months that led to that moment, the erosion, because that is what stalking really is. Not the jump scare, not the knife in the dark, but the slow, methodical sanding away of your reality, until you wake up one morning and no longer trust the way of your own footsteps. I lived in apartment 4C of a pre-war building in the city, the kind of place with crown molding that was probably beautiful in 1920, but now just collected dust. Radiators that knocked like an old man clearing his throat. I worked from home then, transcribing audio files for a medical firm, which meant I spent most of my life in a 10-foot radius. Kitchen, desk, bed, bathroom. Repetition was my livelihood. I could tell you my neighbor in 4B flushed his toilet at 6:15 every morning. Mrs. Gable across the hall took her terrier out at exactly 7:00, 12:00, and 6 o'clock. I liked the predictability. It made me feel safe. The building had a maintenance man named David, late 40s, soft-spoken, hands that looked scrubbed raw, but never quite clean. He fixed the leak under my kitchen sink in October, the week I moved in. Polite, wiped his boots on the mat without being asked. He told me the previous tenant complained about the water pressure, said he'd replace the pipes, said I shouldn't worry. I offered him coffee. He declined, said he preferred tea. Then he told me I had a nice voice, suited for radio, he said. I laughed, thought he meant my work. That winter, the radiator in my bedroom started knocking in a rhythm. 3 sharp taps. A pause. Then 2 more. It happened at odd hours. 3 in the morning. 4:30. I assumed steam. The building settling. I bought earplugs. But then I noticed other things. Little things. My coffee mug. I always place a handle out in the cabinet. In the mornings, it was handle in. My blinds. Tilted up to catch the light. Tilted down when I came home. I lived alone. No pets. I told myself it was memory fatigue. Too many hours. Days bleeding together. So I started taking photos of my apartment before bed. Shoes by the door. Toothbrush angle. Everything. Just to prove I was imagining things. I wasn't. The phone call started in January. The first time, just breathing. Slow. Calm. I hung up. A week later, the breathing stopped. A voice said very quietly, "You look cold in that blue sweater." I was wearing the blue sweater. Right then, sitting on my couch, blinds closed, apartment dark except for my laptop. I threw the phone across the room. When I picked it up, the screen was cracked. The call had ended. I called the police. They asked about ex-boyfriends, about my number online, about paranoia. They said there wasn't much they could do. I could hear the smile in the officer's voice. Hysterical woman, lonely woman, woman hearing things. I started sleeping with the lights on, checking the closet before showering, stopped opening the blinds entirely. I told David about the radiator, just to say something normal. He looked at me with pity and something else, something hungry. He said he had access to the crawl space above my unit. Said he'd check the pipes. Said he'd make sure everything was secure. The escalation didn't feel like escalation. It felt like weather. I found a key taped under my mail slot. It wasn't mine, but it fit my deadbolt. Smooth, silent. That night when I came home, the key was gone. On the counter was a sheet of paper. My calendar. Tomorrow's doctor appointment. One I'd scheduled that morning. From bed. I stopped sleeping. Really sleeping. 3 knocks. Pause. 2 knocks. The radiator sounded like Morse code. I left hairs in the doorframe, tape on windows, a glass on the doorknob. The hair broke. The tape shifted. The glass moved. He wanted me to know. Then I heard a new sound. A shift, a weight above the ceiling. Too deliberate, too human. That Tuesday, after finding the camera, I stared at the vent for an hour. Then I went to the closet, pulled everything out, looked up, a panel, painted to match the ceiling. No dust, recently opened. I climbed up. The crawl space smelled sweet, organic, wrong. There was a folding chair, facing a hole. I looked down, into my bedroom, into my bed, everything visible. To my left, a notebook, dates, times, my life, 6 months of it, and photos, me sleeping, me showering, me calling the police. That's when the hatch below me closed. I wasn't alone anymore. I killed my flashlight. Darkness. Breathing. Then a match struck. David, sitting comfortably, patient. You moved the mug, he said. I like that about you. Others never noticed. I couldn't scream. I've been taking care of you, he said. I'm closer than your own skin. I scrambled. His hand closed around my ankle. Warm, dry. The camera was a gift, he whispered. We have all the time now. I don't remember everything. I remember a neighbor calling out. David vanishing. I fell through the hatch. The square above me empty. The police never found him. The name was fake. He had been nobody. I moved, changed my name, installed cameras. I sleep again. Mostly. Last night, 3 a.m., 3 taps. Pause. 2 taps. I stood in my kitchen. Then I felt breath at my ear. You left the closet light on. I realized then, the camera wasn't the first one. Just the first one he wanted me to find. He wasn't in the walls. He wasn't in the vent. He was standing right behind me. And he had been waiting for me to turn around.